A widower wanted a family of 5 at auction, until they asked, "Will you be our father and our husband?" The auctioneer's voice cuts through the morning heat, like a blade through bone. Thomas Crane raises his paddle for the 5th time, sweat mixing with dust on his weathered face. $350. More than he paid for his best breeding bull. More than he spent on anything since Margaret died. The Murphy family stands on the courthouse steps like survivors of a shipwreck. Elena Murphy holds baby William against her hip, her other 3 children pressed close behind her skirts. The bank wants its money. Her husband's debts won't die with him. Do I hear 300? 350. Thomas's voice cuts through the crowd of vultures gathered to pick over another family's bones. Elena's eyes finds across the sea of faces, not pleading like he expected, challenging. Her gaze burns through him like she can see every empty room in his house, every silent dinner. Every night he talks to Margaret's portrait just to hear his own voice. You think you're buying cattle, mister? The crowd shifts. Murmurs ripple through the gathered men. This isn't how these things usually go. Families being auctioned don't usually talk back. I think I'm buying a future. Whose future? The question hangs between them like smoke from a pistol shot. Thomas realizes he hasn't thought past his own need, his own hollow ache. He pictures them in Margaret's kitchen, filling the silence she left behind. But Elena's stare strips away his comfortable assumptions. Sheriff Clayton leans against the courthouse wall, his badge catching sunlight like a warning. Banker Wilhelm stands beside the auctioneer, his cold eyes calculating profit from misery. Both men watch Elena like predators, sizing a prey. If you win us, what then? Elena steps forward, her children moving with her like a protective wall. You get a wife and 4 ready-made workers. I get a family. And what do we get? The auctioneer taps his gavel impatiently. Business is business. The bank has schedules to keep. But Elena's presence commands something beyond transaction. She stands straight back despite her worn dress, despite her husband's debts crushing down on her shoulders. Thomas feels Margaret's ghost stirring in his chest. 3 years of guilt over wanting to replace her. 3 years of empty beds and cold suppers. Now these 5 souls look at him with hope and defiance mixed together like gunpowder and flame. Do I hear 400? The auctioneer's voice grows sharp. Sheriff Clayton straightens. His hand drifts toward his gun belt. No other bidders. Sold to Thomas Crane for $350. But Elena doesn't move. The children don't move. Mary, 14 and fierce as her mother, steps beside Elena. Her young face carries old pain. Will you be our father? Mary's voice stays steady despite the tears tracking down her cheeks. Little Sarah points a small finger at Elena. And her husband? The crowd mutters. This breaks every rule of how auctions work. Merchandise doesn't get to interview buyers. But Elena commands a moment like she was born for it. Thomas stares at the 5 faces watching him. Baby William gurgles against Elena's shoulder. James, 12 and trying to be the man his father no longer can be, stands protective over his sisters. Sarah's innocent eyes demand truth he isn't sure he has. Sheriff Clayton pushes through the crowd, his presence filling the space with threat. His hand rests on his gun grip like a promise. Move along, Elena. You've been bought and paid for. Elena's laugh cuts sharp as broken glass. Have I? Or have I just found my next fight? The sheriff's face darkens. He's used to compliance from desperate women. Elena offers him none. She turns back to Thomas, and he sees something in her expression that terrifies him more than loneliness ever did. The possibility of love that comes with conditions. Love that demands he become better than he planned to be. Love that won't let him hide in Margaret's memory. The bank needs its money today, Wilhelm calls out. No time for theatrics. But Elena ignores him. She takes one step toward Thomas, her children following like they've rehearsed this dance their whole lives. The crowd holds its breath. Will you be our father and her husband? Her voice carries the weight of everything she's lost, and everything she still has to protect. Or just the man who bought us? Thomas looks into her eyes and sees his future reflected back. Not the quiet, manageable companionship he thought he wanted. Something messier, more demanding, More real. The courthouse steps stretch between them like a bridge over deep water. Elena waits for his answer. Her children wait. Even the crowd seems to lean forward, sensing this moment will change everything. Thomas takes his first step toward them. Then another. The paddle drops from his hand. Forgotten. $350 bought him the chance to prove who he really is. Whether he's a man who can be their father, and her husband remains to be seen. Elena's question echoes in the dusty air as he approaches. The children's eyes never leave his face. Behind them, Sheriff Clayton's hand tightens on his gun. Banker Wilhelm checks his pocket watch. But Thomas only sees Elena, waiting to discover if she made a bargain or found salvation. The auction is over. The real test begins now. Chapter 2. The Way to Promises. The wagon wheels creak through silence thick as honey. Elena sits beside Thomas on the driver's bench, her children huddled in the wagon bed behind them. Baby William sleeps against Mary's chest while James and Sarah peer over the sides at passing fields. Nobody speaks. The weight of what just happened at the courthouse presses down on them like storm clouds. The ranch house appears through morning haze, weatherwood and empty flower boxes telling their own story. Thomas sees it through Elena's eyes now, a shrine to the dead, a place where time stopped 3 years ago and never started again. She was beautiful. Elena's voice startles him from his thoughts. He nearly drops the reins. Who? Your wife. I can see her ghost in every corner you haven't touched. Thomas pulls the horses to a stop. The house looms before them. Suddenly foreign, he realizes what he's done. Brought a living family into a tomb. Expected them to fit around the outline of a dead woman. Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe. Elena climbs down from the wagon, helps her children to the ground. But we're here now. She lifts baby William while Mary and James gather their few belongings. Sarah clings to a rag doll missing one button eye. Everything they own fits in 2 canvas bags. Thomas opens the front door, and Margaret's presence hits him like a physical blow. Her china still set for 2 on the kitchen table. Her shawl draped over the chair where she used to sit and read. Her coffee cup unwashed in the sink, still stained from the last morning she was alive. Elena walks through the rooms like she's touring a museum. Her children follow close behind, their eyes wide at the preserved life of a stranger. In the parlor, Margaret's sewing basket sits open, needles still threaded. Sheet music rests on the piano, yellowed with age. Where do we sleep? Mary asks, baby William fussing in her arms. The barn has a loft. It's clean and... No. Elena's voice cuts sharp as winter wind. We're family now, remember? Families don't live in barns. She opens doors, finds a spare rooms Thomas hasn't entered in 3 years. Dust covers everything like snow. Cobwebs hang in corners. The air smells clothes and forgotten. In the master bedroom, Margaret's wedding dress hangs on a wooden hook, yellow with time but still beautiful. Elena touches the fabric gently, like she's greeting an old friend. She's still here. I can't. You can't what? Love again? Or you won't? The question hangs between them. Thomas stares at the dress, at the bed where Margaret died, at the window where he used to watch for her return from town. Everything frozen in place like a photograph. The children explore, claiming spaces for themselves. James discovers the workshop behind the house, filled with half-finished furniture projects. A crib carved from oak. A rocking chair with one arm missing. Baby shoes whittled from cedar. All the things Thomas and Margaret planned for the family they never had. Why didn't you finish them? James runs a small hand over the smooth wood of the crib. No reason to. There's reason now. That evening Elena cooks dinner using Margaret's recipes, found written in neat handwriting, in a wooden box beside the stove. Beef stew with carrots. Cornbread with honey. Apple cobbler cooling on the windowsill. The intimacy feels like violation and blessing mixed together. At the table, surrounded by Margaret's dishes and Margaret's memory, they eat their first meal as something that might become a family. Elena serves soup into Margaret's bowls. Mary helps baby William with a spoon. James sits straight-backed, trying to be the man of the family at 12 years old. Little Sarah breaks the careful quiet with the question haunting them all. Are we pretending to be a family or becoming one? Thomas looks around the table. Elena ladling soup with steady hands. Mary wiping William's chin with maternal care. James calling him sir with the respect of son. Sarah's innocent eyes demanding truth he isn't sure he possesses. I don't know how to be your father, but do you want to learn? Elena's question is gentle but firm. Before he can answer, hoofbeats pound into the yard. Sheriff Clayton's horse. The man himself appears in the doorway without knocking, his presence filling the warm kitchen with cold threat. Thought I'd check on our newest family. His eyes linger on Elena like hands where they shouldn't touch. Make sure everything's proper. Everything's fine, Sheriff. Is it? Because some folks are saying this whole arrangement isn't legal. Buying people went out with the war. Elena stands, placing herself between Clayton and her children, her spine straight as a rifle barrel. We chose this. Did you? Or did circumstances choose for you? The sheriff's hand rests on his gun belt. His smile never reaches his eyes. Thomas feels something he hasn't felt since Margaret's funeral. The urge to fight, to protect what's his. The family's fine, Clayton. Time for you to go. Clayton's smile widens. Family? That what we're calling it. He tips his hat to Elena. Ma'am. Children. His boots echo across the porch as he leaves. After his hoofbeats fade, Elena turns to Thomas with something new in her expression. Respect, maybe. The beginning of trust. Thank you. For what? For standing up. For us. That's what fathers do. What husbands do. Later, after the children are settled in their rooms, Elena returns to the master bedroom. She takes Margaret's wedding dress down from its hook, not to destroy it, to fold it carefully in tissue paper and place it in the cedar chest at the foot of the bed, making room for whatever comes next. 3 months later, the house breathes with new life. Children's laughter echoes from rooms that knew only silence for 3 years. Elena hums while tending her garden, coaxing tomatoes and beans from soil that remembers Margaret's flowers. The sound of hammer on wood drifts from the workshop where Thomas and James build furniture together, finishing projects that waited too long for completion. Margaret's ghost hasn't been erased, but she's been joined by something warmer, something alive. Elena stands at the kitchen window, watching Thomas teach James to sand the oak crib smooth. Mary helps little Sarah with her letters at the table. Baby William crawls between chair legs, babbling at dust motes dancing in afternoon sunlight. The rhythm of family, the peace of belonging. The peace breaks like glass when Sheriff Clayton's horse thunders into the yard. Banker Wilhelm rides beside him, his face grim with official business. Elena moves to the porch, Thomas appearing at her side like he's been summoned. There's been a complaint about the arrangement here. What kind of complaint? Elena's voice stays steady, but her hands clench into fists. Immoral cohabitation, improper guardianship. Wilhelm's words drip false concern like honey over poison. These children need proper Christian homes. Mary appears in the doorway, her siblings press behind her like a protective wall. At 14, she carries herself with the authority of someone who's learned to fight for what matters. This is our proper home. Says who, girl? Says us. Says Pa. The word hits Thomas like a physical blow. Pa. When did that happen? When did he stop being the man who bought them and become the father they chose? The transformation happened so quietly he missed it, like seasons changing while he slept. The counties prepare to place the children with suitable families. Clayton's hand rests on his gun like a threat, and Mrs. Murphy can find other employment. Elena's laugh cuts sharp as broken glass, dangerous and beautiful. You mean as your whore? Elena! No, let me say it. She steps forward, fear replaced by fury. He's been circling like a vulture since the day we met. You all have, waiting to pick us apart, sell us piece by piece. Baby William starts crying in Mary's arms. Little Sarah runs to Elena, who lifts her protectively. The child's small arms wrap around Elena's neck like she's anchoring herself to safety. But we're not pieces anymore. We're whole. Clayton's gun clears leather in one smooth motion. The barrel points at Thomas's chest. The sheriff's smile never wavers. Step aside, Crane. You've had your fun playing house. This is the moment Thomas has been building toward since the auction. The choice between the safe loneliness of his past and the uncertain courage of love. Between the man he was and the man he could become. He steps in front of Elena and the children. No, no. They're my family. All of them. Elena moves beside him, not behind. Her presence fills the space between them and danger. Our family. James emerges from a house carrying Thomas's hunting rifle. The boy's face set with determination beyond his 12 years. But it's Mary who speaks with the authority of someone who's learned that some things are worth dying for. You can try to take us, but you'll have to kill us all. The standoff stretches like a held breath. Clayton's gun wavers slightly. Wilhelm takes a step back. Something has shifted in the air, something that makes grown men think twice about what they're threatening. The family stands together. Thomas and Elena united in front. The children behind them, not cowering but ready. They're no longer the desperate people from the auction block. They're something new, something chosen, something whole. Wilhelm breaks first, his nerve failing under Mary's steady stare. This isn't over. Yes, it is. Elena's voice carries the finality of a judge's gavel. Because we're not victims anymore. We're not things to be bought and sold. We're the Crane family. The name settles around them like a blessing. Not the Murphy family seeking shelter. Not Thomas's purchased solution to loneliness. The Crane family. Chosen. Complete. Clayton holsters his gun with visible reluctance. Wilhelm straightens his coat, trying to salvage dignity from defeat. They mount their horses and ride away, leaving dust and empty threats behind. The family stand together in fading light. The crisis passed, but its meaning clear. They've crossed a line, declared themselves, become something worth fighting for. Thomas looks at Elena, really looks at her, not as Margaret's replacement or the woman he bought at auction, as herself, strong, fierce, beautiful in ways that have nothing to do with loneliness and everything to do with love. Elena? Yes. Will you marry me? Not because of the auction, not because of the law, because I love you. She takes his weathered hands in hers, callous from work but gentle with intention. Will you be our father and my husband? Really this time, if you'll have me. Little Sarah tugs on Elena's dress with the impatience of a child who's heard enough adult conversation. Mama, does this mean we get to keep Pa forever? Forever and always, baby girl. They walk back into their house together. Not Thomas's house where Margaret's memory lived alone. Not the Murphy family's temporary shelter from disaster. The Crane family home. A place where the past honors the present instead of haunting it. In the window, Margaret's Bible lies open on the kitchen table. But the pages have been turned. No longer psalms about sorrow and loss. Now Ruth's promise echoes from yellowed paper. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people. Some families are born from blood and circumstance. Others are chosen from necessity and hope. The best ones are both. The Crane family closes their door against the gathering darkness, complete at last.